Hi everyone, my name is Davi. I'm postdoc at Unicamp, our working group RL1, along with Susana, Antonio, João, and Professor Denis. And today I'm going to present some results we had throughout this year about the effects of different scenarios of relative permeability hysteresis on oil recovery for different production strategies with WAG's carbon dioxide injection. So to get you into the context of the work, we have been studying hysteresis in relative permeability and capillary pressure curves, and this phenomenon occur in multi-phase flow in porous media, and it provokes two opposite effects that are loss of injectivity and sweep efficiency. So as the non-wetting phase is trapped, and we have a reduction on water and gas mobilities, then the injectivity in wells decreases. But on the other hand, it contributes to avoid viscous fingering, and so it contributes to improves the sweep efficiency. And although this phenomena is known when we are working with water alternating gas operations, and it's supported by experiments, but the complexity and scarcity of experimental data and robust methodology makes many studies to overlook on that. And particularly in this case, we find a few studies when it comes to hysteresis in high permeability layers. So these are the motivations of this work, and the objectives are to show the effects of hysteresis on the oil recovery of a fractured carbonate reservoir, considering different variables of design and management, and also to evaluate the impacts of hysteresis on high permeability layers called super K here. So here we have the methodology, and we performed two studies. The first one, the sensitivity analysis of parameters of hysteresis, and here we use the Larsen-Scott model to represent hysteresis. And here we have the attributes and the range of values used in the sensitivity analysis. And these values were based on field data found in the literature. And the second study is the effect of different hysteresis scenarios on different production strategies. So scenarios here, the scenarios addressed were the model with no hysteresis, LK, that means hysteresis in low permeability layers, and LSK, that stands for hysteresis in low permeability layers, and super K. So in this case, study 2, we used intermediate values for the parameters in low permeability layers and low values for the parameters in super K layers, and we can see that these values are the minimum ones used in sensitivity analysis. So we applied 3 well placements. The first one, the producers are in the middle of the reservoir. The second one, producers are peripheral wells. And the third one is pretty similar to WP1, but in this case we have 2 gas injectors. So the WP1 and WP2 also differ in terms of the number of producers and injectors. So the benchmark used here is Unicamp 2D compositional. It's a nominal stud, and we have been working with a dual pros, dual permeability system, and the human intervention free mode. So we are not closing in well due to monitoring rules, so that we can compare the results in terms of hysteresis phenomena. And also we applied different WAG cycle times, 6 months, 1, 2, and 3 years. Now about the results, we have here the pictures showing the sensitivity analysis for the case LK and LSK, and we performed the sensitivity analysis considering each parameter at a time, and then all parameters, varying all parameters at once. And we see that the deviation of the oil recovery factor compared to the model without hysteresis was lower than 2% for the case LK. But the effect of hysteresis on oil recovery may be substantial when hysteresis is included in super K layers. And also the reduction on water relative permeability and gas relative permeability were the most affecting parameters for the case LK and LSK respectively. Now, in terms of the results about effects of different hysteresis scenarios on different production strategies, we have these pictures showing the oil recovery in function of the WAG cycle time and the hysteresis scenarios. And we can see here for WP1, the oil recovery decreases as we include the hysteresis phenomena, and but the opposite is observed for WP2. The oil recovery increases as we include the hysteresis phenomena. And also for the model with no hysteresis, the oil recovery decreases as we increase WAG cycle time, and the same is observed for WP2. For LKKs, it's pretty much the same, but for the LSK scenario, we see that the oil recovery increases as we increase WAG cycle time. So the point here is that each hysteresis scenario shows a different behavior by varying the position of the wells and the WAG cycle time. And another point here is for the scenario LSK, the premise of total gas injection or gas recycling was not honored in this case. So in these situations, this premise was not honored, and because of that, we tried this well placement 3, and in this case, we added 2 gas injectors, and we were able to increase oil recovery. And also, we see here that the oil recovery for WAG cycle time of 3 years was slightly higher than for the model without hysteresis. These results are important because when optimizing a production strategy, it shows that we should be very careful because maybe each scenario is going to require be addressed in a different way. As I said, for LSK, we had to include 2 gas injectors. So maybe in this case, we should work with a hybrid recovery method or other alternative. Now about this trade-off between loss of injectivity and sweep efficiency. The loss of injectivity is observed in all wells when hysteresis is accounted for, and this effect impaired the oil recovery for WP1. And in this picture, this figure, we see that the green curve relates to the LSK. The injectivity is much lower than the others. But the sweep efficiency may contribute to oil recovery in such a way that the effect of loss of injectivity is overcome. And that was what happened for WP2, as I showed in previous slide. And in this figure, we see the oil production rate curves, and we see that the green one is much flatter than others, and it suggests that in fact sweep efficiency is better in this case because the oil production is not being affected by the change of the fluids and injectors. And another point here is about the simulation runtime. And in this table, we can see that hysteresis phenomena does not significantly affect the computational time. Now, to sum up, the main points of this work are that hysteresis in super K layers is an uncertain phenomena that can promote a substantial loss of injectivity, and the values of hysteresis parameters used in this case, LSK, are uncertain because we don't find data on literature to base on. So even low values can lead to significant changes in production indicators. And the address the hysteresis scenarios affected the performance of the production strategies differently. And because of that, we believe that a life cycle optimization for each hysteresis scenario in a probabilistic study may bring a more comprehensive understanding of the hysteresis impact. So we thank the partners and sponsors in this work, and also I thank you for your attention.